With the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker, change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. Lightweight, baby. Let's bleed, shall we? Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Come on in, smash the like button. Like the video, share it. We are our own algorithm. Let's not leave it up to Miguel to do anything for us. Miguel don't care as long as speaking truth. But Miguel's gonna care. When I talk about that NFL halftime show on Pep Talk, oh, he's gonna care. Oh, you're gonna care. You're gonna care. Demonic. But we'll get to that. Let's do this roll call real quick. I want to jump into this. G McCall, salute. Not 86 early in that super chat. He says, salute Drew and salute to the mighty LDBC, man. Salute to you. Thank you so much. Daryl Anderson, salute. Freedom's March, my brother. Ratchet since 91, salute. Eric Myers, not 86. The War Report, he says, great topic. I read the new act. A lot of misinformation being spread. Okay. Well, I haven't read it. So you're going to have to educate me, good brother. You're going to have to educate me. On the outside looking in, I'm just asking a question. I'm just keeping it very simple. You're going to have to educate me, though, brother. I haven't read it. In all fairness, I haven't read it. But I want to address all the fear. I want to address the fear that people have and point the finger this morning. Because a lot of people that have fear, you guys with the fear, a lot of this is your fault. It's self-inflicted. But we're going to get to it. But War Report, you're going to have to educate me because I haven't read anything. But from what I'm hearing on the outside looking in, if you're scared, I question what you was doing all this time. You know what I'm saying? For the people that are frightened. So hell yeah, salute. Coach Hudson in the building, salute. The Sensei Stormy B-Man in the building. Black Gun Owners Magazine, Noah Randall. Enoch, what up? Jose in the building. Chilltown Majors, 4-ounce Sniper. Tim TV, salute. Let's get to it. I'm glad War Report said it. And go shop Usual Suspect 6. I haven't read it. I haven't read the act. He says there's misinformation. I haven't read it. What I want to talk about is the fear that people have. And I guess that leads into the misinformation. When my brother says misinformation, it sounds like that people have a preconceived notion of what it is, and it's not. So I don't know. In all fairness, I haven't read it. Andrew Gray, what up? But I want to discuss what people are scared of. Let's talk about it. What are y'all scared of? I want to hear it. I'm going to open up the panel in a few minutes, but I want to hear what you're afraid of. And then I want to ask you, if you're afraid, were you one of the people that just wanted the best fight the best, or did you protect your favorite fighter? And I want y'all to be honest. Ace Status, salute. Mr. Shelton, salute. Because I said a while ago, Michael Ray, what up? I said a while ago, Turkey wouldn't have had anything to do if everybody was doing the right thing. I mean, really think about where boxing was before Turkey, because Turkey is the absolute cheat code. But listen, man, Trey Will, salute. Listen, man, don't think, I mean, the man literally has all the money in the world as it pertains to the sport of boxing, but don't think he's not going to reap a benefit from this. Don't think that. Some people are like, I'm all for it. Some others are like, well, I don't like this. Unique Dawn, salute. Unique Dawn is in Omaha. She got a picture with the GOAT right there. You look at her avatar. She was at the Bud Parade. Salute to her. She's on the ground. Boots on the ground. Salute to you, Queen. I want to know where you, as a supporter of the sport, stood. Isaiah, salute. Mark Harrison, salute. Because you know what? The only people, I'm not firing shots, but the only people that had a problem with Turkey, it seemed to me, this is what it seemed, that they had a favorite fighter that they didn't want to see in the ring with other fighters. And y'all know where I'm going with this. Y'all know where I'm going with this. And it's only a handful of them. But on the outside looking in, y'all remember that picture he took in the UK with all of those fighters? 704 Joe, salute. All of those fighters there? Hell, even Teofimo was there. He was the only person hoisting up that belt. But he was there. There was only one mofo that had a problem with all of that. Y'all go ahead and put his name in the chat. There's only one mofo that had a problem with all of those fighters going in and saying, yo, hold on, wait, this guy got money? We're prize fighters, right? There was some fighters that vacated belts and said, yo, I'm good. I'm going to vacate the belt. Because you know why? This guy's paying me money. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get that belt back. Shout out to Jai Opatai. He said, man, let me dump this belt, go get this money. I'll get that back. Jai Opatai's a dog. He's an absolute dog. He's a diggity dog. Jai Opatai's a dog. He said, I'm going to go get this bread. I'm not worried about that. Ain't nobody in Cruiserweight effing with me. I'll go get that back. Let me go get this money. And he did that. And here come the sanctioning bodies. Oh, we're going to strip you if you go. Take the belt. You guys devalued your own business. So now Dana White has this thing called the ZUFFA belt that I just found out about 2 days ago. So you got the ZUFFA belt, you got the ring belt. Are those two different things or is it the same thing? Educate me. I don't know everything. I think it's two different belts, right? The ring and ZUFFA. So where does that fit in? If you're a fighter right now, let's say you did the Olympics thing and you made some noise and you in Chicago, you're in New York, you're in the Bay, you're in Texas somewhere. And people got their eye on you. Top Rank has came to your gym. Right? Mauricio Sillyman got people over there. And then you get a call from Dana White. And he says, hey, man, you come F with me. We're going to get you airtime. You know me. I like to promote. I'm going to promote you. And if you win this belt, the ZUFFA belt, no sanctioning fee. Well, I don't know, Dana. I see how you work the UFC. You know. We'll give you $3 million.
What?
Where do I sign? See that? Now, all of you that talk about, hey, man, don't get mad at fighter A if he's trying to get his bread. Okay. Are you going to maintain that same energy? You see the web we've weaved? You see this? Turkey Al-Sheikh wouldn't have had anything to do in boxing if boxing was doing right. When it was time for Jamal Charlo to fight Canelo Alvarez, what happened? A franchise status. Mauricio Sillyman undermined the entire history. Do you know Marvelous Marvin Haggle's picture is on the belt that Canelo Alvarez had? And what they did was he threw that belt away, the belt with all the history on it, and accepted a mythical status because he didn't want to fight a black fighter. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all understand that when Vasily Lomachenko, when it was time for him to fight Devin Haney, he dumped that belt and requested a mythical status? And instead of holding the WBC and Lomachenko accountable, y'all chose to call Devin an email champion? Do y'all understand that? I'm not lying. That's what happened. And I said, what are we doing? What's going on here? What are we standing on? Not business, or are y'all? Y'all are standing on business. And what did the WBC think the best interest of business was? Lomachenko and Canelo. They didn't give a fuck about no Jamal Charlo. They didn't give a fuck about no Devin Haney. And before you say, oh, well, they let Jamal Charlo hold on to that belt all that time when he was sick. Guess what? These people are symbolic. Why did Jamal Charlo have that belt for so long without getting stripped? They wanted him to keep it nice and warm. Because you know what Canelo tried to do? When he signed those big deals, he just wanted 2 Charlos on his head. So he got one. Nobody cared. He didn't get the real Charlo, the one at 160. He got the one from 54. And then he tried to get Jamal regardless of his mental capacity. Y'all remember that? I said, look, that's why they wanted him to hold on to that belt. Because they wanted him to lose it, his undefeated streak, and lose it in the ring to Canelo. That's what they was trying to do. I told y'all this. And it didn't work. That makes that Bud win all the more tasty. Jay Bean, Boxing and Betting, my brother, in that super chat salute, he said, if all come together, have one big organization and create a board with all the sanctioning bodies. Simple. Everybody on salary like other sports. But you know what the problem is with that? And that sounds very noble, and I hear that. The problem with that is eventually fighters are going to have to unionize. And that means fighters getting on the same page, whether they like each other or not. And this is a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody's looking for their own best interest. The only people that care about unionizing and looking out for fighters are fighters that are long gone and retired. Eric H., World Constrictor, Aaron Butler, J Man, Kawhi Elliott, Rod Neal, salute. If I miss you in the chat, know that I love you. That means it's going to have to, if it's one big sanctioning body, they have to unionize. And if there's going to be a union, that's not in the 4 sanctioning body's best interest. It's really not. Derek Gaines, what up? That's not in their own best interest. It's not. Can you imagine Bob Arum and Mauricio Silliman allowing a union? That's going to undermine everything that they've been doing. That's going to undermine them, what made them millionaires. What about Matchroom? What about Queensberry? They've already been assimilated. Now I put these 4 guys. For those of you that don't know, y'all know Bob Arum, y'all know Mauricio Silliman. Shaquilla, salute, Queen. The other fool is Gilberto Mendoza Jr. That's the WBA. And the brother on the top, that's Darryl Peoples, IBF. And they're looking at this like, man, we're in trouble, man. Because the champions that hold our belts, we charge them. We charge them sanctioning fees. And here come these 2 fools. You know, Dana White been chopping at the bit to get into boxing, and this is his opening. This is his opening. Now, on his face, there's a fight. There's fighters looking at that saying, hey, man, I can come F with these guys, make some easy money, and if I get a belt, I ain't got to pay no fee. I think that's the deal. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they got to pay sanctioning fees. So right there, I don't know how much sanctioning fees cost. I heard it's a percentage. I don't know how that works. Maybe y'all know better than me. So let's say you, I don't know, you have a fight and you make $5 million and you're the WBA champion. You got to pay them a percentage, I guess. You're paying someone, you're renting a car. MJ, what up? You're renting a car. That's what you're doing. You're basically renting a vehicle. Why should you do that? into Turkey Al Sheikh. Hey, come fight with me. I'll be on the undercard. I'll make $2 million, and he's gonna give me a belt made of 80% solid gold, and I ain't got to pay for that. And if times get hard, that belt is worth about 1.5 million. What the hell? It's a no-brainer. I've been paying a sanctioning fee to the WBA and the IBF, man, and they've undermined their belt. They devalued their belt. The WBC and its franchise status, which, by the way, can anyone tell me where it went? Where's the franchise title? Where's it gone? Where's it at? Where's it at? So all you fans, oh, I don't like Turkey. He's trying to move boxing over to Saudi, and they done let Dana White in. Dill Spoolie, salute. Yo, listen, y'all did this because a lot of the same people that are frightened and annoyed with this, some of y'all got favorite fighters that when it came to them fighting their contemporaries, y'all justified the fights not happening. Do y'all understand we never got AJ versus Wilder when it was important? We was one fight away from undisputed. Remember that? Hen Dog, salute. She said Avni Yildirim got it. Shit. Steve Espinoza told me, I don't know where it is. He said, I heard Mauricio's getting rid of it. Steve Espinoza told me that to my face. I have it on video. Check my content. That was at the Jamel Charlo Canelo Alvarez presser. Check my channel. I'm out in the trenches for real, getting answers, or trying to. I'm talking to people. That's what I do here. I don't know what everyone else is doing. I speak for me. But they undermined their own product, man. Now, what makes these fans any different from the sanctioning body? What makes you any different from what Mauricio Sillyman has done? Inventing a status because he saw more value in the fighters waving the WBC banner just to avoid black fighters. That's just what it was. At that time, when it was time for Canelo to fight Jamal Charlo, there was a serious element of danger. Period. Young Abel, salute. Yeah, I am. There was an element of danger. Don't tell me there wasn't. There was. And he put the kibosh on it. And the only fans that justified it were Canelo fans. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Y'all don't want to see him test himself? He could beat Jamal, right? They didn't care. There was American fans, they didn't care. They didn't care. Y'all didn't care. Got away with it. When it was Lomachenko's time to fight Devin at 35, franchised. And instead of holding him accountable and the WBC accountable, y'all blamed Devin and called him an email champion. Edgar, salute. Y'all called him an email champion. I said, what the fuck is going on here? And it was time for AJ, who had 3 belts, to fight Deontay, who had 1. I've heard all the excuses. Deontay can't sell out Alabama. Have you ever been to Alabama? No. So how the fuck you know what's going on over here? I had American fools. I'm talking about boxing and undisputed champion in the 4-belt era, and they're talking about seat sales. Trying to sound smart. You're not smart. You're an idiot. You're not smart. You're not smart. What did Deontay do to earn a fight against AJ? He's the WBC champion. He's the last piece of the puzzle. Wait a minute. You say AJ demolishes him and, Windmill Wilder. Great. Tell him to do it. That's all I said. Tell him to do it. And it's before we got close to the brother. I just said, hey, wait, whoa. Tell AJ to get it done. And I heard more excuses from his fanatics than a little bit. And then I heard the excuses from Eddie Hearn. Then the British fans, y'all justified that fight not happening. And then when he did come to America, he got his ass kicked. He got drugged and he got his ass kicked. Take that. And even when there was still some intrigue about that fight, he still didn't take it. And Deontay was coming off of a Parker loss. He still didn't want it. You guys are hopeless. So with all of this bad business going on, trust me, there's been a lot. No one anticipated a Turkey Al-Sheikh coming along. And then enter Tay, good morning. And then enter Dana White, who wanted to jump into business anyway, and he went to Turkey and he marketed himself. Hey, look what I've done with the UFC. UFC was a dead promotion until I got a hold of it. Yeah, the guys are not getting paid what they're worth, but look at what I'm, G-Tatted, what up? Look at what I'm doing with the business, though. People know these guys. They're not getting paid as much as boxers, but people know these guys. I'm a good promoter. You want to get some super promoting going on? Hey, contact the WWE. So you got the rehearsed wrestling, you got me, and I'm going to show you how to move and shake in boxing, too. Where does that leave the 4 sanctioning bodies? Where you have supporters of the sport like myself who's just fed up and tired of the bullshit? I'm just watching the melee. And now they're talking about the Muhammad Ali Act. Well, I can't stop what happens moving forward. The Muhammad Ali Act protects fighters. But you know what? How many fights haven't we seen that have really had nothing to do with the fighters, but had everything to do with the business? For example, wouldn't you have liked to see Bud versus Pacquiao when he was on Top Rank? The passing of the torch. And what did Bob Arum say in open? I killed the fight because I know how it ends. Xavier, what up? I killed the fight. I know how it ends. Manny's such a nice guy. Those were his exact words. But he sent Manny to Australia to lose to Jeff Horn. Y'all do know what I was supposed to be Bud, right? And then turns around and says the amount of money I lost on Bud, I could have bought a house in Beverly Hills. Remember that? Who went crazy online after that? We did. I said, whoa, what the fuck? We were talking about Bud being pound for pound #1 back then. We was like, why would he say that? And I don't want to get into, what Bud said and then the lawsuit. I don't want to get into that. I'm talking about what Bob Arum did. That's what he did. WBA with Gilberto Mendoza. You want to talk about that? I'll just show you. See this bitch? Gloria Martinez. Gloria, how did they get your number? You stink, nigger Rogwin. Drew, why are you saying that to her? Ask Michael Fox. Do the homework. The man got robbed. And she was a designing judge. And she was reprimanded. She got on Twitter and called Michelle Obama a monkey. Yes, she did. Slapped her on the wrist, and then they brought her back. Michael Fox petitioned. He said, look, man, I beat that boy. What was that boy's name? Can't think of his name right now. Beat his ass. And he got to the ring with skin gloves. The ref said, yo, who skinned? They brought it to his attention. Yo, who skinned these gloves? No, I'm sorry. He said, who signed off on these? Because the commission has to sign off. Okay, this hand wraps is all right, and the gloves are okay, and they sign it. Michael Fox team catches it and says, hey, man, those gloves are skinned. He said, yo, who signed off on these? You hear someone, I didn't. That was the WBA. Michael Fox went in there and beat his ass and got a bad decision, a loss. He petitioned. And they said, we investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. Remember that? Isn't the WBA the same sanctioning body when Guillermo Rigondeaux couldn't fight his contemporaries? Abner Mares, Leo Santa Cruz, Frampton, Quigg. They froze out Rigondeaux. Nobody ordered them to fight Rigo. He had to go up and fight Loma. He went up and lost to Loma, and after he lost to Loma, the WBA stripped him. What? He didn't lose that belt at his weight class. He went up and had to be great because his contemporaries wouldn't fight him. He lost and you took his belt? Why? Why? Why would you do that? That's the WBA. So let's see. We went through the WBO, went to WBA, went through the WBC with goddamn franchise status. That leaves Darryl Peoples in the IBF. Well, you know, his fingernails got a little bit of dirt underneath. Not as bad as these other three assholes. But now he's just in the mix, trying to make it, you know, trying to make things thorough. And now here come Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White. And all the fighters are running over there. And what now they're saying, yo, we'll strip you, we'll take our hardware. Take it. I'm paying $250K to hold your belt anyway, man. Take it. Do you think Shakur gives a damn about any belt? Do you? How about this? Do you think Josh Padley cares if he ever holds one of the 4 belts? Josh Padley, do you think he cares? They brought him in on short notice. They said, man, you want the Shakur fight? We'll pay you. Flew him in from the UK, fought Shakur. Well, it wasn't a fight because Shakur dominated him. And he says, well, Turki, I got to go back home. Thank you for the payday. But, you know, I'm an electrician. You know, I have a business. And, you know, he said, business? No, I want to bring you back. Well, you know, Turki, I'm a working man. Working man, I'll retire you out. Okay. Do you think Josh Padley gives a shit? You think Jai Opetaia gave a shit? What belt that they stripped to him? Was it the WBO or the WBA? I forget which one. But I forget I forget the story exactly. It was fairly recent. Y'all might know better than me. Y'all can educate me. But he had a belt, and he was offered a fight on Riyadh season. They said, if you take this fight, we're stripping you of the belt. He said, take it. I'll get it back. He went and made his money, scored a knockout, and then went back and got his belt. All around strong. Salute. You think he cares? Village Brothers, salute. Turkey's the cheat code, and Dana White latched on to the coattails, so now he got his UFC, and he's gotten into boxing now. WWE's playing ball. We got sports entertainment in here. A little bit of storytelling. So, you know, you got the guy from the WWE working with Dana White. They're going to make some stories, and they're going to have real fights in that cage. And they can also build storylines with these boxers. And where does that leave the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, and the WBC? Are they going to turn around and look for loyalty from fighters in their rankings? Well, you got fighters that are ranked in the top 5, and you're like, wait a minute, how did this guy come in and he get a title shot? How many times y'all watch BFTBs live and there'll be a fight going on and he shows you the rankings? It says, how did this guy get here and he's in line for a title shot? And he's new to the goddamn sanctioning body. He's new to the goddamn rankings. How did this happen? How many times BFTB showed us this? Well, fucking with Turkey, you ain't got to worry about that. Imagine being ranked number 5, and you saying, yo, 4-3-2-N1 is food. And by the end of this year, I'll at least be number 1, if not the mandatory. And then you can get out of bed in the morning, and somebody from the WBC migrates over to the IBF, and now he's a mandatory. Imagine being the mandatory, right? And the champion, who you know you could wash, decides, hey, I want to unify with this guy in the IBF. And it's like, whoa. And then you look around and say, wait a minute, that guy that has an IBF, he even fight for it. He's just good for marketing because he's from West Bubblefuck, Yugoslavia. So the old champion moved up in weight or retired. They gave him the belt, and now this fool's going to unify. And when he unifies, he's going to duck me. Enter Turkey Al-Sheikh. Hey, that fight makes sense? Okay, let him unify, and then his next fight will be against him. And the only people that be against it will be the sanctioning body. Because the foreigner is worth something to them. Oh, he's from, West Bubblefuck, Turkey. And every time he comes out, all the Turkish people in this city fill up the arena. That's small time thinking. Well, I'm not even going to say small time thinking. I'm going to say it's old thinking. Rick, what up, Rick? It's old thinking. J-Man told me, I love how pay-per-view became extinct. Yeah, that shit's over. They're killing pay-per-view. They're killing pay-per-view. Riyadh season is what the zone was supposed to be. Yeah, Aaron. Ryan Garcia hasn't done anything, but he was pleasing to the eye. So he jumped into the rankings like, yo, where did this kid come from? But, homos like to look at him. Girls think he's cute. Right? And with the right dance partner, Supreme Beast, salute. With the right dance partner, you can sell some seats because he can't sell seats on his own. Ask Rod Neal. He was in Houston. I think that was a Toyota Center. And this was after he lost the Tank. He fought, the Spanish dude. And Rod was like, yo, they had half the arena shut off. Oscar Duarte. Joe, what up, Joe? He fought Oscar Duarte. So I learned that he's not there's no sale for him. There's no market for him. They did it with Tyson Fury. Oh, he had a fight with Deontay after the first fight. So Bob Arum signed him. They skipped out on the immediate rematch, and he brought him to ESPN. And he came out with the Apollo Creed shorts and everything else. And nobody came out for that fight. They gave away tickets and all that. They said, oh, he needs a dance partner. There's no real intrigue. Same thing with Ryan. Nobody cares. He needs a dance partner. So now, minus the drugs with a clean fight and a real fighter, what you get with Ryan? A subpar guy. Subpar. Lost to Rolly Romero. Subpar. And after Devin beats his ass in the rematch, it's not even gonna look, it's not gonna look anything like that first fight. Y'all gonna see. It's not gonna look anything like that first fight. And let me park there for a second. I don't know how this happened, but he did a post on the gram, and I don't follow him. Somehow it came up on my timeline. So it's him hitting pads at 100 miles an hour. I don't care about that. But something told me, click on the comment section Some of y'all some motherfuckers, man. Some of y'all are some motherfuckers. Some of y'all still follow this dude. Eric Jordan, salute. PGA, salute. Tone, what up? Some of y'all follow this nigga. And I stress the word nigga because he's the biggest nigga I've ever seen. Fucking low-life, uneducated piece of shit. I recognize a lot of names in there with strong arms and heart symbols. It's okay, champ. You'll be back, champ. When was he a champ? Stop calling him that. Like y'all didn't hear what he said. And he never apologized. He just said, hey, I was on drugs. Okay. A drunk mind speaks a sober heart. And I'm looking at the comic section, and some of these niggas I recognize. I rock, salute. Salute to you, brother. And I'm like, whoa. Some cats was in there, yeah, running back with Devin now. Some cats were standing on business in there. But the persons that did say that, 50 comments, I don't even want to read those because I know those are trolling ass comments. To follow that kid after everything he said and did, first of all, he didn't accomplish shit in boxing. All he revealed to you is that he's a subpar fighter who had a drug habit. And he's a racist. And he's a liar. And y'all in there. Something told me. I said, why is this here? Yo, God don't make no mistakes, man. I said, I don't follow this dude. Why is it here? I said, wait a minute. This happening for a reason. I looked at it. I said, so what? He's hitting pads. I felt like Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. Boards don't hit back. I've seen a bunch of dudes look thorough in a heavy bag, grunting and sweating and looking like monsters on the pads. First round in the amateur fight, they get their head knocked off. They jumping at every feint. They flinching. I'm like, yo, he looked like an animal yesterday. Boop, knocked out. Cut up, 12-pack abs, sucker in that ring. Big F, salute. $1,500 comments on there. I said, let me see what's going on there. And some motherfuckers I recognize. I'm like, who the fuck? All right, man. All right. Well, I'm different, man. Maybe I don't consider myself a conventional media. I don't. What I do is, yo, I'll go to these places and I've walked past so many people that like I told y'all, I had more than enough space and opportunity to talk to Bernard Hopkins. He was literally to my left. I didn't give a shit to talk to him. I'm done. I talked to the Normans. I talked to the Masons. Of course, I talked to Bill. You know what I'm saying? Radio Raheem looked at me in the face and he walked away. He knows exactly who the fuck I am. There's a few people in there that walked off from me. I'm outside. I ain't looking for no beef, but if you know I don't fuck with you, kindly please don't try and shake my hand. Don't come to me and say, hey man, what? Don't. Stay away from me. Nah, Copper, he was on his social media hitting pads, and I'm like, why is this on my timeline? I don't follow this guy. So I went to his page first to make sure that button that says following isn't highlighted. I said, okay, look, I don't follow him. So then I said, wait a minute. Why is this on my timeline? God's talking to me. I said, I went to the comment section. I said, look at this shit. And like I said, some motherfuckers I recognize. I ain't saying nothing. I know what it is. Slim Hussein, salute. What I did was after I read saw what I needed to see, it wasn't even worth screenshotting. I saw what I needed to see. I backed out. And I went to the box on the upper right-hand side and it said block. So now I made sure I will never be updated on what that clown does, ever. Pillow biting freak. Hitting pass. Where was that hand speed versus Rolly Romero, dude? Where's all the fanatics talk about get it back in blood? Where y'all? You'll get him next time, Ryan. Get it back in blood. I'm telling y'all right now, Rolly boxed him easy. Devin's gonna fuck him up. And I don't want to hear ring rust and no. They were both out of the ring the same amount of time. Devin looked crispy and fresh. Ryan looked like shit. I'm sorry, he looked normal. He was drug-free, and he was made to come in on a reasonable weight. Make me sick. Anyway, back to this shit. That's another thing. All these interim titles and regular champion and silver champion, get out of here. Get all of that confusing stuff out of here. Delano, salute. Get out of here. It got too confusing to me. A silver champion, interim champion, champion in recess. Autumn Calum Golem champion. African champion. European champion. Man, fuck all of that. CB Sports, salute. Go sit y'all asses down. So on one hand, we needed this. On the other hand, there's going to be some things that's you know, it's going to be fugazi. But what I'm saying is Pandora's box has been opened. These sanctioning bodies have been doing whatever the hell they wanted to do for a long time. And we had a problem with it. Mauricio Sillyman, the WBO, the WBA, the IBF has done they did something fairly recently. I couldn't remember what the hell it was. Thomas had told me. I forgot what it was. But like I said, he got dirt under his fingernails too. But they didn't fathom this guy coming in with all this money, and he has enough money to come in there and take everything from them. And you can't threaten these fighters. Somebody, hey man, we're gonna take your hardware. Oh, what? That belt that I'm paying y'all $10,000 every 6 months for? Take it. Because according to my math, I could come over here and have 3 fights and be chilling. And I can fight my contemporaries. You know my contemporary that's in the WBO? Well, I spoke to their camp. They want to fight. And Turkey said we can fight. Well, if you fight, we're going to take our belts. Take them. Do people pay to see your belts or pay to see us? Oh!
Whoa! What the Go!
Turkey got these dudes by the balls, but I could be wrong. Gerard Harlem in the building. Opening up the panel. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Good idea, bad idea. Is there something I'm missing? Let me know. I don't know everything. Good idea, bad idea, I don't know. I'm just saying that this whole thing is a self-inflicted wound. The whole thing is a self-inflicted wound. And I can't say that I feel sorry for anybody. Now, will there people get hurt behind this? I'm sure. But I need y'all to understand how the hell we got here in the first damn place. That WBA thing got me pissed off, what they did to Michael Fox. And they brought that bitch Gloria back. What fight was that? They had her holding the belt. And had these 2 brothers there. I forgot what that was. I did a video on it. I'm like, man, Suspended her for what? After what she said, man, get out of here. Abel, what up, brother?
Hey, what's happening, brother? How you doing today?
I'm chill, man. How you doing?
Well, there's a lot of things that I want to discuss about in terms of what Dana White is doing through association with Turkey Al-Sheikh. And I know Coach Hudson has exclusively talked about it the last couple of days. So let me just break down a couple of things that I'm thinking in my mind. Number one, would this help a lot in terms of building up to the fights that we've been wanting to see over the past, 4 years? Absolutely, 100%. Because one of the things that we've accused a lot of these boxers and a lot of these, sanctioning, bodies is basically justifying a lot of the ducking that we've been seeing, a lot of the maneuvering around in these boxing scenes. The other thing here is that when you look at the situation in boxing right now, what do we always constantly say? It's the promoters and the sanctioning bodies that have been one of the main reasons why we've been seeing a lot of fighters ducking. Other than the fact that we've seen other fighters like Canelo and Tank basically do their own strategical ducking to avoid, certain fighters and certain styles. So in terms of that, it would help. But here's the other flip side to the situation. What people don't understand, and I think a lot of the boxers are not understanding, is what Dana White is looking to do with boxing. He's trying to build it up in the same manner as the UFC. Basically, and the fact is that the fighters fight the tough competition, but get very little pay out of this. If the boxers were smart, if they had some sense, if they put their egos and their personal issues to the side, they would unite together and try to fight this issue and basically form a union and basically say, no, we don't want the Muhammad Ali to be abolished, because what Dana White is looking to do, and he has connections, especially with the president of the United States right now, he's going to look to try to abolish the Muhammad Ali Act and make sure that a lot of those guaranteed rights that boxers are exclusively supposed to get are terminated. Therefore, the promoters get basically 90% of the proceeds, and basically the boxers get basically little to nothing. That's what the goal of mine is. Now, is Dana White's going to do it all at once? No. He's going to do it slowly and methodically to make sure that a lot of those investors don't get scared off into investing into rehab season, ZUFFA, and a lot of the stuff that is similar to the UFC. But like I said, if the boxers were smart, they would unite and fight against this. But we know from our past experiences, they're not, because they're too egotistical, they're too dumb, they're too stupid to see the writing that's about to happen at this particular time. And I find it very hypocritical, Drew. What do they say about the PBC accusing them of creating a monopoly?
Yeah.
Well, where is that same smoke for Turkey Al-Sheikh and Dana White now that they're looking to buy out on a monopoly in boxing? Because I'm going to guarantee you this. If Dana White and Turkey complete their goals, they're going to look to start buying out a lot of these boxing promotions. They're already trying to buying out the Matchroom and Queensberry. Don't you think for a second that they're going to try to look into America and say, hey, we want the PBC, we want Top Rank, and we want Golden Boy. We're going to start buying y'all out. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, brother. David Scott, salute. A brother, the War Report, he said ducking is a superficial problem. He said, what about boxing's middle class? Harvey don't know what he's talking about.
Pull up then, odd fella, and explain it to us, brother. Come on up. I want you to educate me.
He read the what they're doing. I didn't read it, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm uneducated about that, so I don't know.
Okay. I like odd fellas to come up here and explain it to me, not in an insulting way. Just educate me. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. So if you can, odd fellow, you pull up and let everyone know what you read, because I didn't read it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. If he has other details about it, I like to know. Just ask me.
Yeah, there's a lot to this. There's a lot going on. Oh, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. That's what I'm saying. If you got a minute, educate me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I said that earlier. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know what the act's called. Well, you talking about the Ali Act or what exactly Dana White and Turkey's trying to do?
Right. That's what I'm
What
wondering.
Dana White and Turkey's trying to do, if there's a name for it, I don't know what it is because I haven't read it.
Right.
I haven't read it. You know what I'm saying? So I got to educate myself on that. Or if you get a minute, just if you can come up, just come up real quick and
right.
Just educate us real quick because I don't know. We don't know. There's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna benefit from this. There's gonna be some people hurt by this, though. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. So Coach Hudson in the building. Salute.
My brother Drew.
Man, the man that we call himself the second in coming of Louis Farrakhan. What's up, Coach Hudson?
Man, I appreciate the compliments, but I got a whole lot of work to do before I can be anything like the minister. But hey, shout out.
I'm giving you love.
I appreciate it. Shout out to my brother Drew, my brother Abel, everybody in the chat. So, like you said, Drew, it's bittersweet. The good news is y'all gonna see boxing. That ain't about to change. But on the terms that you're used to, that's over with. And I'm not even gonna get upset about it. All of you brothers, man, that's been on the wrong side of history these past few years, bro, you know who you are. Those of you who have always made excuses of why the best don't need to fight the best. Your favorite fighter ain't got to do nothing but get their money. You all know what we've heard. These are the consequences. Now let me show you something, because some of you are acting very naive, or you just don't know. So I'm not gonna talk at you. I'm just gonna teach for a second. Randy Couture petitioned the Muhammad Ali Act back in 2000. And he fought for that for almost 10 years. Who was the man that was trying to go against him tooth and nail every step of the way? That man was Dana White. So for those of you who keep trying to say, well, he's just gonna add to it, or he's not gonna take away, man, just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. The only L's that Dana White has taken in the UFC is when people have been able to either go to the sport of boxing and get a bag and get out their contract. All the L's he's taken when he lost in Ngannou was able to go get that bag. You all think that doesn't eat him up? So yes, we're gonna still see fights. Fans are gonna see fights, but it might not be the fans that you grew up seeing Roy Jones when we was a kid, seeing Sweet Pea Whitaker, seeing Holyfield, seeing these great giants go against each other, because we have now allowed a casual base in. And some of you think, I mean, the insanity in your mind. Think about this, because I'm not going to talk at you. I just want you to think for a second. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself a question. When Terrence Crawford got a gun pulled on him in his face, did Turkey say anything about that? Did Dana White post anything about that? This man that just put on one of the biggest events and won and was victorious. Did Ring magazine come out with a long article like they've been putting all the propaganda on their Facebook posts, on their YouTube channels about certain things? Has Turkey gone out and say, that's very unfortunate, we need to make sure our fighters are protected, etc.? Hell no. You ought to see any of that. So you same brothers who are always, this ain't even about the brothers. This is a spiritual thing. This is a moral thing. A lot of you men in the sport of boxing, period, the cowardice and spinelessness that goes on in society today, you bring it into the sport of boxing. And these are now going to be the consequences. Now, to the fighters, it is unfortunate because all you all had to do was keep the legacy going. It is unfortunate because all the fighters that came before us, all the way back to Jack Johnson, all the way up through the 90s, all of them had already paved the way, and all you all had to do was keep it going. Abel just pointed out a great point. When Al Heyman got on the scene, when PBC got on the scene, some of you brothers made videos, you drug Al Heyman. I mean, you built channels off of saying that this man was trying to monopolize boxing, this man was doing this, but now y'all got all this love for Dana White, who has a history of screwing over fighters a long history, almost a 20-year history. But you all give him you all have so much hate inside of you for your own. And at this point, family, it ain't nothing to argue about. You are about to reap the consequences of this. Some of these brothers still are coming on here today talking about praising non-black fighters that don't even come from their tribe, don't look like them. Some of these brothers got sons, got fighters, and they still go out their way to try to have a seat at a table that they are not invited to. So, like you said, Drew, it is going to be a two-edged sword, bittersweet. But when that Muhammad Ali Act no longer protects these fighters, you're going to see what's up. I believe that Turkey is underestimating Dana White. Dana White is going to leverage his power eventually to get Turkey out the way altogether, because Turkey thinks he got more power than he does. Brother, all you got is money. That is a white man in America who has ties to the commander-in-chief himself. And this goes back to when Trump went over there with all those CEOs to Saudi. That's what all of this is about. And some of you all are sitting up here with your black self thinking that, oh man, it's going to be all good now. And to the sanctioning bodies, you sanctioning bodies and some of you promoters, you all had great talent. All you had to do was promote your talent that you had to the fullest. But you got Bob Arum, who wants to throw shade on Terrence Crawford, throw shade on Floyd Mayweather, try to keep the fight from Diego Corrales happening. So then you have people get into the sport like Jay Prince. And what do you brothers do? You brothers get on here, you try to drag Jay Prince when everything that Jay Prince touches in the sport of boxing has done well for himself. When he got a hold of Floyd, did well. Andre Ward did well. Winky Wright did well until he didn't listen. But you all only have hate for yourself. So listen, brothers, I don't want to hear no crying. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, look how they doing the fighters now. All of you are about to reap the seeds of coonery that you sown.
Hey, I got to say one more thing, too. For some of the people that are in the chat saying that Dana White's like adding to things, like, guys, you should know by now what Dana White has done to many of these fights and many of his UFC fighters. If you don't think for a second that he's looking to try to completely abolish it altogether, you're badly mistaken. Y'all need to look back at what he did back when he was running the UFC into what it is now. Come on, guys. Y'all got to wake up and see what's going on around here.
But you can't tell them nothing. They have Stockholm syndrome. As long as it's a white man smiling in their face, they have Stockholm syndrome. They will always be suspicious of Al Heyman, who had a 40-year history of being one of the greatest promoters, a man that worked with Michael Jackson, one of the greatest tours ever put on the planet. They were suspicious of him. But another man who has a record of doing bad business, they welcome them with open arms because they hate themselves. This is what I'm saying. And I'm so sick of trying to argue with niggas like this. I'm so sick of having to defend us every day and night, trying to make you wake up and open your eyes. But listen, it is a damn shame that all the history, everything that's going on, especially in the sport of boxing, you think that somebody's going to sit at a table with you and share power. You really think, listen, family, some of you really believe that a businessman like Dana White is coming to the table to share power with our black fighters. Man.
Right.
Y'all brothers go ahead, man.
Right.
Y'all brothers go ahead.
They don't understand.
They don't get it,
they
bro.
Don't understand
That's
what
the thing. They just don't
really
get it.
They don't understand what colonizers really do.
See, Drew, that's the point, bro. Like, Drew, that's the point, bro. Like, they just don't understand it, and they're gonna and then when it happens to them, then they're gonna recognize it. But by then, it's gonna be too late. Like Tay Brown just said in the chat, Francis Ngannou pretty much said that the UFC contract that he had was pretty much a slave contract. I mean, there's a reason why many of them defect to boxing, because they're getting small peanuts in comparison to what boxers get on a regular basis. Come on, guys. Like, you think for a second that Dana White is going to try to share money with Turkey Alex Sheikh? Turkey Alex Sheikh is nothing more than a ways to a mean to get where he wants. Because he knows that Turkey Alex Sheikh is basically a sympathetic figure with tons of money that can push a lot of different things to get what he wants. And when Dana White is able to figure out a way to worm his way in there and take the mantle from Turkey Alex Sheikh, you watch. He's going to push him out the door, and he's going to run Riyadh season under the same way at the UFC. You're going to see a lot of fighters have the same complaints that the UFC fighters are having.
Let me say this, and let me ask everybody listening, please pull up tonight. The War Report, aka my brother Oddfella, right? He's going to be on the Usual Suspects, 5:00 tonight Eastern Standard Time. I think that's going to be on Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Pull up there because he's going to speak on that. And I'm pulling up definitely. Well, I pull up every day. You might not see me, but I'm listening to my brothers every day. Shop Usual Suspects 6. I'm pulling up there for the education. Absolutely. He just sent me the entire act. I'm looking at it. I'm talking with him in the chat. I wanted to know if there was anything he wanted me to read in particular because it's a few pages. I should pull it up just so we can read it together. But he says that this act only applies to fighters who choose the new guard, the league, which is, in other words, if I'm reading it correctly, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. In other words, if you choose to go deal with Riyadh season, those are the conditions you'll be operating under. But if you choose to still fight for the sanctioning bodies, it won't affect you. Am I correct on that? Is that? Am I reading? Am I misreading the comment here? Or not? Are y'all reading the same thing?
That's what he's saying, but that's incorrect. That's what he's saying, but that's the reason why that's incorrect is because the Muhammad Ali Act is legislation that covers all of boxing. So if depending on what is changed, it will still affect everybody. The Muhammad Ali Act, when it comes down to fighters knowing their purse, when it comes down to the rules and regulations that the commissions will implement for every event, is all covered under the Muhammad Ali Act. So it's not a situation where, okay, well, if they change something, you are only going to have to deal with it if you go over the Riyadh season. No, if you change the actual Muhammad Ali Act to benefit them, whatever is in that act, wherever is updated, is going to apply to all boxing events that are in America. Now, I believe that Dana White is also partnering because if you look at the deal that he just got, the TV deal, it's all of Latin America, Central America, and Canada, including the U.S. Now, y'all already know those places are not covered under the Muhammad Ali Act. So he already has a plan to implement something where he already doesn't have to deal with it in the other places that have this huge TV deal. Come on, family. All y'all got to do is
connect. You know what? That makes sense because you can't say, okay, we're gonna operate under these conditions under our banner, but we want to operate the conditions under our banner on American soil. Can't do that.
Exactly.
Oh.
So he has to change the law so he can do what he wants to do in the U.S. See, if all right, family, everybody in the chat that's saying what you're saying, think about this for a second. If Dana White, who has a history, he knows how to build a league from the ground up. Not only that, during COVID, if you all remember, the man had a UFC facility built just for his fighters to be able to do what he wanted to do and not be held by the COVID restrictions. He could do it anywhere else, this boxing league. He could bring it from the ground up in Saudi. He could go to the UK and do it. He could do it in Brazil if he wanted to. Why do you all think he is trying to, and the man said it himself, he's trying to either abolish or add to the Muhammad Ali Act? It is not to go against his own business practices. It is to help him in what he's already trying to do. Come on, family, think.
I agree with that. The brother of the War Report says, UFC rules do not apply in PFL or Bellator fighters. What's the difference? I would say the difference is that's not considered a boxing event.
Exactly.
It's not a boxing event. That's MMA. Those are different guidelines. I'm just trying to make sense of everything. You know, but there's a deeper play, coach. I would agree there's a deeper play. If you could undermine it just a little bit, that means you got your foot in the door. You can eventually go change it. And some people will benefit from it. Some fighters will make millions of dollars. Some fighters will make just enough to take care of their family, be okay with it. But they literally are saying, fuck the unborn. Because when the well runs dry, and let's just say Turkey says, I'm bored with boxing, I'm done with it now. Now you're left with shit. And what are you going to do? They literally said, fuck the unborn. And like I said, it's a double-edged sword because the sanctioning bodies, they haven't done too right by a lot of fighters either. They've done right by some, but for every one or two fighters that say, hey, man, you know, Mauricio did good by me, I could find 10 that say, man, fuck the WBC, man.
Exactly. And the sanctioning bodies are going to pay for the crap that they've been doing. All these PED users that they choose to not give not do anything about, no consequences. They just get a slap on the wrist. And then some people, they get a 3-year suspension. I will say this, under Dana White, he ain't playing that. Under Dana White, people would have been like, there's a few things we're gonna benefit from. There's some things that we have seen that goes on in boxing that in UFC somebody would have got fired already. Some of the things that the refs do, they would have got fired. Some of these things that the fighters do, Dana White would get up there and do a press conference and say, because of this fighter's actions, they will never fight again in the UFC. So I could see Dana White getting up there. This is part of that double-edged sword. I could see Dana White getting up there and say, you know what, because of Ryan Garcia's actions, you will never box under TKO again. You see? So he has the ability to do the right thing, but people are saying, well, what's the solution? I don't think you all are understanding the conversation we're having right now. What we're telling you is we're past the solutions. We tried to do the solutions when we kept telling the community to unify. We were trying to do the solutions when we were telling fighters, hey, y'all need to get together and make a union. We've done that for years. The consequences that we're at now is we have two foreign entities who are now going to partner to take this thing over. And you all are going to have to deal with it. Some things are going to be good. We are going to see probably more fights. We're going to probably see boxing on television more because Dana White already has the chess pieces. But for those of you who are naive, let me talk to my tribe for a second. You brothers and sisters who love the sport of boxing and you love black fighters, black American fighters, you love to root for our tribe. You all can hang that shit up. If you think that this right here is going to benefit them, it is not. If they don't get in where they can fit in, the leverage that Floyd Mayweather probably had at one time, we might not ever see again if the play that's about to be played happens. And for those of you who are giving this man all this grace, it's mind-blowing to me.
Why couldn't he just leave the act what it is and just continue with the sport?
Exactly.
And that's what I never understood. I'm like, why he got to make these changes? Why is the Muhammad Ali Act even being mentioned? Because it's a threat. And once he did that, once he said that, I said, wait a minute, man. Leave it how it is. You're adding to the sport. All you're doing is making these fighters. You're taking away that opposite sides of the street shit, and we're finally getting fights that we want. Why the need to even play with this bill? I never understood it, or do I? Now, this is the bill right here, and shout out to my brother, the War Report. My brother Oddfellas sent me this. We'll go through it and see if we could find something that makes us scratch our head. It's a bill to amend the Professional Boxing Safety Act of 1996 to establish requirements for unified boxing organizations, UBO. To further enhance the well-being of professional boxers and for other purposes. Number one, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives, of the United States of America, and Congress assembled. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act. Y'all follow me so far?
Yes.
The purposes of this act are to provide increased choice and opportunity to professional boxers by allowing a professional boxer to choose to participate in the alternative system offered by a unified boxing organization, and to further enhance safety precautions that protect the well-being of professional boxers. Let me stop right there, because I might be going too fast for certain people. Right there in that first opening paragraph, that covers all bases, and they're very specific when they say boxing. Mm-hmm. Dana White operates under a different set of rules. That's MMA.
Thank you.
All right. So, Dana White, basically what I'm getting from this, for him to even want to change, alter, add, whatever you want to add something to something that already covers all bases, Dana White's clearly up to something. But we all know, as much fun it is to watch the UFC, a lot of those fighters are like, man, I'm not paid what I'm worth. For me to get paid what I'm worth, it has to come from other entities. Conor McGregor is probably the most famous guy to come out the UFC, but he got other entities that he collects money from. He got his own alcohol. He got he got suit deals and things of that nature. And he's a draw, and I get it. So Dana pays you what you're worth. Mm-hmm. It sounds like when he gets these fighters, he wants them to operate under these conditions, but he can't operate under those conditions with this Muhammad Ali Act in the way. He can't do it.
Right.
So what he wants to do, and I could be wrong, he wants to start his own league.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come fuck with him, you're going to operate under his conditions. But the problem is you won't be able to do that on American soil.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And people saying that, what the changes will do, the changes ain't been made yet. So we don't know. We do not know what's going to happen until the changes are actually made. Right now, Dana White is just talking. And any of you who have done business before, talking is just that. Talking is just words until we see some action done. Now someone did say, yes, you can write to your representative. You can write to your representative in Congress and tell them, hey, we think it's going to be a danger to American civilians who are athletes if this act is taken away. But Drew, let me tell you, Drew, this didn't just start now. They have been making plans to control the sport of boxing going back to when they suspended the Olympics a few years ago. Now, some of y'all just talking. Y'all wasn't on no boards. You wasn't sitting down with the International Fight League when we were arguing back and forth with them, and all the USA boxing coaches had to come forward and defend that we were not a corrupt organization. If you all remember, this next Olympics is going to be the first time boxing has been brought back since the last time they completely got rid of the sport of boxing. Their thing was they did not like how much control we had as the USA Boxing Organization versus the International Fight League, who was being ran from a guy in Russia at the time. Now, what we had to do is we had to show that our practices, our business practices, checking steroids, all that was on up to par, and that things will be on the up and up. So now they're bringing it back. You all don't think it's a coincidence that now that a new league is about to start, that now boxing is going to be back in the Olympics? Like, family, all you have to do is just put the puzzle pieces in. Now, some of you are right in the chat. We don't know what's going to happen until the changes are made. But all I'm saying, this is my point. We got to this point, like the brother Drew said, we got to this point because of our conduct as a black boxing fan base, And as an overall boxing fan base, period, the crap that we have allowed happen in the sport over the last 10, 12 years, we are reaping what we have sown because of that. And us as black folks, I just got to say, it is very disappointing how we treated our brothers in the sport of boxing, how we treated and was just so suspicious of Al Heyman. Even when the man put on good events, it was always a rebuttal. Well, how many seats did they sell out the gate? Well, how many pay-per-views? That brother ain't all that.
Wrong shit to worry about. It's always been.
That's hate with y'all. And you all can sit up here and get mad at Coach all you want. I ain't about to get mad and yell about it because people keep telling me, hey, Coach, you just got to let some of them learn their lesson. And I see it. I got to let you. I can't keep going on about it. Some of you gonna have to see, and I realize it's so dangerous because some of you think like this in your real lives. Boxing, like the brother Drew always says, imitates art, and that art imitates life itself. Yep. Some of you, the way you think and the Stockholm syndrome that some of you have, you are so ready and just so trustworthy of people who have given you a long history of why you should be suspicious, and then when a brother comes along, you already got it in your mind to go against him. And that is one of the most disappointing things I have to say. And to my brother Drew, you are right in exact. Because what's going to happen is once the fights start happening, they're going to start saying, oh, Drew, see, you wrong. See, they making fights happen. A lot of you still don't understand colonizations. A lot of you still don't understand how the Trojan horse is played. Some of you, I can tell, you need to go watch the movie Shaka Zulu. You need to go watch how the missionaries come in first. Then the teachers come in. Then the medics come in. The doctors. And then the soldiers come in. And then those who rule them come in. That is how you gentrify a sport. The same way you gentrify an area, gentrify a neighborhood. But some of y'all swear to God that it's going to be on the up and up. You all think that these fighters are going to have the same leverage and power that our ancestors in the sport of boxing fought for decades to get. Hey, life going to show you better than I can tell you. That's all I'm going to say about it.
No, that's real shit, bro. That's real shit. And what we're saying is, Deland, I see your comments, brother. We're just making a point. We're just making a point, man. These guys are not doing, they don't come in. These are businessmen. And Dana White is a businessman. And I'm just going to go ahead and say he has a colonizer mentality. And I'm saying that because I've watched what he's done with the UFC and the fighters that's left there. Man, Randy Couture left there because he said he was cutting, he was like doing bad business. He didn't like his treatment. If you remember, we're talking about Dana White is a businessman. He's a businessman and he doesn't care. He wants to undermine things. He's not doing this for our favor. On the outside looking in, we can say, man, Turkey's doing a great thing. We've gotten a lot of things from him in boxing that we appreciate. But to think that he's not going to benefit from this in some way, shape, or form, he's going to have to step on some heads. And one of the things they're trying to do, once you start talking about altering the Muhammad Ali Act, that's when you have a problem because he's doing that for a reason. I know I'm going to go to Coach Eddie in a second, but I know Tay-Tay's at work, right?
No, I'm off today.
Oh, you're off today? Okay, so I'm going to go to Coach and then I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Coach Eddie. Salute,
hey, salute, brother Drew. Salute to the panel, Coach Hudson. Say, boxing, man, is it's all about exploitation at the end of the day, man. I think Kurt Flood and Muhammad Ali said there is a thin line between the athlete and the slave. It's also a documentary called Facing Ali, and in the intro of that documentary, if you notice, boxing or any type of combat sport affects the disenfranchised and I'm not going to say downtrodden, but on the lower economic scale of things. Every race, nationality has shed their blood in that boxing ring. At one point, it was the Irish. You go back and look at the history of boxing. You had a lot of white guys who come over, the Irish. Why they call them the Fighting Irish. They put them in the boxing ring. Of course, you put the blacks in the boxing ring. You put the Polish in the boxing ring. The Germans. Every race, nationality has been in that boxing ring and shed their blood. And it's all about, at the end of the day, it's a blood sport. It's all about making money. Mm-hmm. And one thing about greed corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. And we just talking about the boxing on the higher tier, the guys that we see on TV. Man, I've been on club shows. Professional fighters who made absolutely nothing. $0 at the end of the match. A matter of fact, they're paying to fight on the match. Let that sink in. They're paying to get on the card to fight, to entertain the people and walk away with nothing. Matter of fact, some of them walk away in a deficit. So just because we have an Ali Act doesn't mean that it's going to be violated. See, even with the laws and rules, we only pay attention when it violates a celebrity or somebody that's well known. But with somebody that we don't know about, they get violated every day. These boxers are getting violated from day in and day out on all levels, from the amateur system all the way up to what we seen a few Saturdays ago on Netflix. We know it. Everything's so eloquent. I don't yes, it's good. It's good for fighters to get in there and get in the mix and make some money. But the only way these guys can combat this is that these promoters in America, they got to stand firm. And they got to hold on to those belts. You can't let those belts disintegrate. Those belts have been around for a very long time. They hold merit and they hold weight. And you can't let those belts fall by the wayside. You can't let those belts become obsolete. And these guys are going to have to put some money where their mouth is. Instead of stop being prostitutes, because all these promotion companies went in there and they got in the bed with Turkey Al-Sheikh. All of them did.
Yeah, they did.
And now they're saying, "Oh, wait a minute! Now the alcohol is wearing off." And wait a minute! I got in the bed with this guy right here. Yeah, you did. You didn't see the play coming. Look at you now. So now they're gonna have to regroup, have to put some of their own money, and stop trying to use. That's the thing. A lot of these companies, they don't want to use their own money. They want to use somebody else's money. That's why they were so quick to get in the bed with Turkey Al-Sheikh. You got to use your own money now, and you're gonna have to promote the sport that you say that you love, and put some dollars and put some hustle behind that muscle right there, and stop exploiting these fighters. Make sure they get what they're getting to get their just due. But I'm gonna land my plane right there, brother.
I appreciate that. And this all goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, man. Turkey and Dana wouldn't have had anything to do if we was doing the right thing from Jump Street. You know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather Jr., and I think no one realizes he was in such a position of power 20 years ago where he could have started his own league, unionized it, getting right by the fighters, and just got everybody the best fighting the best and doing the right thing by the sport. You know, put together a pension plan for these guys and everything else, man. But now when you have all of these people doing for themselves, what you have is disarray and people just trying to get the biggest piece of their pie because, you know, it's feast or famine. And that's just how boxing is. You know what I'm saying? I talk to fighters that y'all forgot about literally every day. I talk to Freddie Pendleton every day, y'all. And, you know, he's not, the brother had a stroke a few months ago. All right. And, you know, I'm on the phone with him and the brother's repeating himself. And, you know, sometimes he'll call me and I get off the phone. He'll call me right back. And I'm like, you know, Fred, you just talked to me. He said, oh, shit. Oh, okay. You know, but at one point, yo, Freddie was hot in these streets. You feel me? He was hot in these streets. And in my opinion, y'all know I had Angel Man Freddie on the show. That is not the guy I grew up watching. And I almost cried when I got off that show, man. I said, God damn. And I think at minimum, a guy like Angel, a guy like Freddie, all these guys, man, once you reach a certain tier in this sport, I would like to see you at least in a position where you have at least a residual income of about $6 or $7 grand a month with some medical. You know, I would love that, man. But I mean, goddamn, man. You know, I know Village Brother just popped in. I know he's at work. I'm gonna let him cook. Then I'm gonna go to Tay. Village Brother, go ahead, brother. Can you hear me? Billy's brother. I Mike's unmuted. Can't hear you. Sham it. All right. When he yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna be real quick. I just want to reiterate everything that Coach and Drew have been saying, and Abel and Coach Eddie as well. The only thing else I would want to add is that time is not on our side, because I don't know if you guys remember Turkey. He's sick. Sick.
He's real sick.
So I don't know how long. That's where I go back to what Coach was saying about getting Turkey out of the situation. Potentially, if Turkey doesn't have like some kind of successor, it's just gonna go all straight to him. It's straight to So that's just something I wanted to point out, because I don't know if anybody remembered that yet, or was going to say that. Maybe somebody was, but.
And thank you, brother, for bringing that about. Did y'all know that Turkey's sick?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that man's sick. I mean, like.
Oh, he's sick? Oh, my God.
Like terminally. Like, he got some shit going on.
It's just a matter of time. Like a brain cancer. Some kind of brain cancer.
He has something going on with his brain, y'all.
Oh, man.
And now here come Dana White trying to alter this act. I'm telling you.
I don't want to speak on that.
Dana White wanted to get into boxing, but there was no room for him. Right? There was no room. Let me tell you what this reminds me of. Okay?
All right, y'all. I'll be in the chat. Peace, fam.
And I'm gonna go to Tay after this. Let me tell you what this reminds me of. What this reminds me of, when the U.S. went to war in the Middle East, and I don't want to get too deep into this, I'm just going to tell you how this is very similar. We took out Saddam Hussein, all right? And we found out a year later why we should have left his ass alone. You know why? Because as crazy as we thought he was, he kept all that bullshit under control over there.
Yep.
Because once we took him out, all of these different factions started popping up. And people were like, yo, he had that under control. Y'all didn't know about all of these factions. You took away the dog that had that under control. Now he gone, and we got to deal with Taliban and all this other shit. It's crazy. He had it under control. We should have left him alone. Now, here's why this reminds me of this. Not to say what Turkey's doing a bad thing. He loves boxing, and he could foot the bill. But now, if he removes the 4 sanctioning bodies, and his illness takes him out, we're left with Dana fucking White, and we allow him with this damn to alter the Ali Act. It's gonna be a problem. So I'm concerned. On one hand, it's a good thing, because if you're in the UFC, and I'm gonna go to Tay, if you're in UFC and you're a champion, you're fighting your mandatory. That's it. Boxing has never been like that. Some fighters want the smoke. Most fighters say, oh, if I can avoid the smoke and make millions of dollars, I'll do it. And that's what makes me annoyed. But if you alter that act and you give it to Dana White, oh my God, it's gonna be bad. Tay, good morning. What you got?
Well, I just want to say this. They should not let Dana White in, because Dana White is going to turn this whole thing into the UFC. I want to point something out. Why do you think Francis left? Why do you think John Jones is not there anymore? It's not because they are afraid of each other, guys. It's because of the money. Like Francis versus John Jones, that is the biggest fight in MMA. That fight is not happening because of the money. That's why. And Francis said, the UFC is a slave contract, and he's right. I mean, these fighters are starting to catch on. They know what they're worth, and Dana is not paying them. Yeah. That's why Francis is in the PFL. See, the PFL, you can get as many sponsorships as you want. You can even box in the PFL. See, in the UFC, if you want to box, you got to go out of your contract and box. Right. You can't do that. So, you know, Dana, one thing I do respect about him, he will give you the fights that you want to see. And, you know, if you refuse to fight, you're on the shelf for 6 months. But Dana in boxing, no, I don't want him in that. I used to want him in that, but I don't. But as a hardcore MMA fan, you guys got to understand something. You know, that's why we're not getting Francis versus John Jones. It's because of the money. These two are not afraid of each other, but these fighters are starting to catch on. Dana is not paying these fighters what they are worth. I'm telling you, the same in boxing, whatever, it's going to be octagon money. Get this guy up out of here. I don't trust him in it.
He has a, and thank you, Queen. He has a reputation that precedes him. And on one hand, we always said, man, UFC, we get the fights immediately. But the trade-off is there's a lot of people that left that organization saying, man, F that contract. I should be up at least $5 million. I only got $500K in my bank account. That's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, they're lucky if they get up to 1 million or 2 million. You know what I'm saying?
And Dana's eating. Dana is eating. That's real talk, man. That's real talk. I got your text, Jonathan. Thank you for that, brother. Oh.
But that's all I wanted to say.
Yo, brother Drew, can I add another comment real quick?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so like I said, like it's a thin line between the athlete and the slave, and that's so true. And you know, if you look at boxing, has always had a shady history. It's always had savory. I'm not gonna say savory, but these kind of different characters in boxing. We even heard bad things about Don King. Now, Don King is a brother, but there's a lot of people who have a lot of gripes with Don King. The man has been sued several times. This man stiffed Muhammad Ali out of about $5 or $10 million. Came to the hospital and gave the man, I think, $50,000 and had him sign off. You know, after this grueling fight, that he was guaranteed a certain amount of money, and Don didn't pay him. Tim Witherspoon, same thing. Don King was sending his henchmen in to intimidate the fighters. You know, basically just strong arming them. So this is not something that's white, black thing. This is a greed thing. This is about exploitation. If you remember Rocky 5 or Rocky 6, Rocky movie has a lot of true things in it. Even though it's a fictional movie, there's a lot of true things in that sport. Well, he was training Tommy to Duke Morris. And you remember, I think it was the promoter was a bootleg Don King. And he told the man to shut up and fight when I tell you to fight, and fight how you want to fight. These bums don't think straight. You know what I'm saying? That's how they look at fighters. They look at you as dumb, unintelligent, can't talk, can't comprehend anything. You're nothing but a dog to them at the end of the day. And you're going to be exploited. If you get in this game, expect to be exploited because it's the hurt business. And a lot of times you meet, and Al Heyman, shout out to him, he cares about his fighters. One thing I can say about Al Heyman that he does genuinely care about his fighters. He making sure they're well taken care of. Now I'm going to add this point. In order for black fighters to get maximum dollar, they must be undefeated. They must have a zero. Once that zero they lose their O, their pay drops significantly. Now Canelo Alvarez has plenty of losses. His pay didn't go down. Matter of fact, it went up. Yes, sir. And what Dana White is trying to do, he's trying to tap into a new market. If you notice now, you're seeing a lot of UFC are now sponsored by Mexican beer. He's tapping into that new Mexican fan base for the UFC. It's about exploiting another market. Now pay attention to this. There's a gold mine in Africa right now, African fighters. It is a lot of talent out there. Trust me. Believe you, and I tell you, a lot of talent out there. Anthony Joshua is going over there to start some boxing stuff over there in Africa. And I don't know if he's going to try to take over or try to do something big over there. I hope he does, though.
We had an event last night, and it was headlined by two black American fighters. But Amir Khan had a lot to do with that event last night. And I believe it was in Nigeria. They had African musicians performing. I watched the whole thing. They had African musicians performing. They had the mid card, the undercard. I watched the whole thing. I ain't even gonna hold you. I didn't know some of the guys. Some of the guys were familiar to me, but they had 2 Black Americans headlining. So there's an effort there. There is an effort there. I want y'all to understand, I love boxing, but I know what Dana White is about. And in order for him to be successful, what he has in mind, in the long term, it'll be harmful. My brother Oddfellow says top end problems. What about the boxers who don't have guaranteed fights or a fixed schedule, forced to drive Uber or pay their expenses? They're only worried about the stars. Well, again, double-edged sword. This is going to benefit a lot of guys in the limelight, and that's where fan base comes in, because a lot of people get undermined. How many fighters throughout the years we saw that was super talented, but they were undermined? They were undermined because their rival or 8 people ahead of them are from a country, to quote Donald Trump, a shithole country that just supports their guy for the sake of supporting them. There was a fighter called Emmanuel Augustus, who's a hell of a fighter, but he was so goddamn low on the totem pole, right, that, he was robbed 1 billion times on the cards. He was taking fights on short notice. He had a loss against Ruslan Provodnikov. He took the fight on like 2 days' notice. And I'm watching the fight. I said, man, this is not how he normally fights. He had no camp. He just took it because he needed the money. But this is the same guy who had Fight of the Year on ESPN versus Mickey Ward, right? And I think before that, Floyd Mayweather will tell you, to date, that was his hardest fight against Emmanuel Augustus.
Yes, it was.
So there's guys like that all in these rankings, but because they don't have a mouthpiece or a supportive fan base, or they're not just being real niggardly on social media, flashing, gold teeth and doing stupid shit, they're just calm and laying in their cut. They don't get the shine. And a guy like Dana White won't support that guy unless he's shucking and jiving, as we used to say. That's an old term for y'all. Shucking and jiving. In other words, cooning.
Making too much sense, Drew. You're making too much sense. And you know what?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me say this. This is what I'm starting to realize, and it's really sad because it only comes from men. Anytime we're building on something, somebody in the chat always finds the smallest thing to disagree on, and then comes personally. Now they're personally attacking me. Let me say this. I don't feel any type of way if you disagree with what I'm saying. But when you try to insult my character, when you try to insult why I speak the way I speak and how I speak to my people, first of all, you can go straight to hell, because you don't know me enough, and you clearly ain't been around long enough to know what you're talking about. Because if you were around for just a few weeks, you would have heard Coach Hudson calling in to my brother's channel, telling everybody to do what? Get on code for Bud Crawford. So for those of you that always are in the chat and you get so butthurt because you don't like how strong I'm talking, listen, I'm not your lady in bed. I'm not your mama. I'm not your grandmama. When we having a conversation like this and I'm talking to men, I'm going to talk to men how men talk. Now, I never called black people dumb. I never insulted our race. What I said was, those of you over the last few years who have had a chance to get on code, when we have said we need to unify, when we have said fighters need to make a union, when we have said that there's corruption in the amateurs, and you have always gone against us, you are the type of Negroes I was talking about. Now, if you don't fit that shoe, shut your black ass up, because I'm not talking about you. But if that is you, don't get mad at me. You need to check yourself as a man. You need to check yourself. And then to act like there's not this buck dancing, cooning, samboism crap going on in the sport of boxing, that is just pure ingenuous. We all know that there are people in the sport of boxing who have assimilated, and in our fan base, who try to assimilate to those who hate us. And all we're trying to do is shine a light on that. Now, let me calm down. There was something, Brother Drew, I think you said, and Coach Eddie said, that I wanted to just point out real quick. What do they do in Hollywood when they realize that there was another pot of talented black people that they could pull from. We started seeing all of these parts played by British actors. Am I right or am I wrong? And a lot of us, we wouldn't know they was British until they had an interview and they started talking in their regular accent. And we would say, what the hell going on? When first time I heard Idris Elba speak, first time I heard the brother from Power speak, I'm like, wait a second, that brother ain't even American. Dana White has a history of going to places. When he started having all that trouble with some of the black fighters, what did we start seeing? We started seeing more African superstars in the UFC. When he started having that trouble with Anderson Silva, you saw he stopped trying to recruit as much from Brazil. So those of you who are mad about what I don't worry about how I'm saying it. Don't worry about how I'm talking. You a damn grown ass man. If this right here is too hard for you, I'm sorry. Let me talk to you a little softer. Okay? Listen, sweetheart. You need to wake up because right now we're not looking good as a people. You need to wake up because right now people who spend their whole life, dedicating their life to this sport that I love. I don't know about you, but I love it. That I love, and the blood and shed that's been laid down to get to this point, that is under attack. And if you don't care about that, these boxing spaces might not be where you need to be. But if Coach Hudson is talking too tough for you, if Coach Hudson hurts your feelings, sweetheart, I'm sorry.
Hey, Coach.
I do not worry. I'm gonna let you cook, Abel. I'll just say this. This is just a PSA for my channel. Don't worry about the don't worry about the volume of the voice. Don't worry about the just worry about the context of the content. Worry about that. Don't worry about the volume. Don't worry about what's being said. People get on here. They have speech impediments. They get on here. Sometimes a brother or sister might have a problem with articulating what they're saying. Everybody gets a chance. But if I can grasp what you're saying and I deem it as for the greater good, then I want people to speak on it. Not everybody's a rocket science or an English major or perfect at public speaking. I understand. But I want everyone to have their say. And I'm just deeming that this Dana White thing is a bit dangerous for me. Go ahead, Abel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, you don't have to like how the tone was being said, but you have to respect the message that's being sent. That's the point that Coach Chosen is trying to tell y'all. You understand? And also on a little jokeful sidebar, hey, Mr. Sheldon, worry about your master Brett Favre over there. Go get your traveling papers right now because you still ain't allowed to travel outside of Mississippi. All right? Now, beat it with that nonsense. Quit calling me an alien, man. For real. Anyway, crazy ass Mr. Sheldon. Anyway, the thing is though, bro, like, oh wait, somebody gotta go on mute. Okay, thanks.
Delano. Go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
for sure. Okay, I'm gonna say this real quick though. Don't think for a second that Dana White is gonna screw these fighters over. He's already done it in the UFC, and he'll gladly do it in boxing. And especially, one other promoter he would love to take out of business, Bob Arum. We know that Dana White hates Bob Arum. Those two have not liked each other for decades. Don't you think for a second that he would love the opportunity to buy out Top Rank and get rid of Bob Arum out of boxing?
Then there's that. And Bob Arum is already 104 years old. Any day now, he literally, I'm not kidding, y'all. He's knocking on 100. Any day now, literally, he could just like not wake up. And then what we got? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean,
right.
I think Dana sees an opportunity. I mean, what better way than to monopolize ultimate fighting in boxing? We gotta watch this guy. Look, I'm gonna go on record saying he's not our friend.
No,
he's not our friend at all. At all. If Mauricio Suleiman and Gilberto Mendoza and Bob Arum, and I'm gonna put down people's there too. If these sanctioning bodies are not our friend, what makes you think that Dana White is our friend. I don't trust this dude.
No, not at all.
At all. I really don't.
And here's the other and here's the other part, Drew. Here's the other big thing. You don't think for a second that he would love to buy out Golden Boy Promotions? He don't even like Oscar De La Hoya either. He don't like a lot of these other promotions. Don't you think for a second that he would love to buy out all these promotions, all the main promotions in the United States of America, and basically centralize everything to himself? He's trying to monopolize the entire fighting industry. He's already done it in MMA. He's already done it already. So what do you think for a second? He's going to pretty much try to buy out all the sanctioning bodies, get them out of business, get rid of all the promoters, get them out of business, and make it into one centralized body. And he's got the means, he got the resources to do it. He's like another Vince McMahon. Remember how Vince McMahon basically bought out all the territories and all the promotions out of business during the 80s and the 90s, and now you see WWE where it is now. I'm telling you, Dana White is a savage, guys. I'm telling you, he's going to be looking to try to monopolize the entire fighting industry. That's his long-term goal before he dies. Mark my words.
Yeah, this is we can hope for the best. We can always hope for the best, but I'm not confident, man. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Right.
I'm not confident, man, and I don't trust Dana White. I don't trust Dana White. I really don't. This could be a whole problem. This could be a whole problem, and like I said, Bob Arum, he ain't got much time left. You know, we don't like, I call Mauricio, I call him silly man. You know, I don't like it. You know, Gilberto Mendoza turned me off at the WBA. And on one hand, I'm like, man, F these sanctioning bodies. It's because of them we don't get the best fighting the best. So I'm happy that Turkey came through and he's regulating. But what happens when Turkey's done regulating? Because I know he was sick. I didn't want to, you know, harp on it, but I knew he was sick. And I know how sick he is. Now, what happens, you know, when he eventually leaves, and now Dana's in charge of all of that. And then, but he's laying the groundwork right now, playing with this Muhammad Ali Act. We got to be cautious. We can't just say, "Hey, man, you know, we're doing what we're doing here. We get what we want." The trade-off in the long term is, what about the guys that we like watching? You see, I come from the era where I grew up watching Tuesday night fights, Friday night fights. There was a Sunday night fights on USA back in the day.
That's right.
A lot of y'all don't remember that. That's me. I was watching boxing on Telemundo and Galavision. Nothing was in English, but I love the sport. So I don't mind. I watched the whole event yesterday. Some of the fights was an eyesore, but it's not the worst thing that I've seen. You know, I would love to go back to those days, but the reality is there aren't fight fans, at least in America, like that anymore. But can Dana White, with his marketing ploy, shove boxing in our face like that? He might be able to, but the trade-off is how much of that will be marketing schemes, how much of that will freeze out the fighters coming from these gyms and from the U.S. boxing program. How many of those guys will be frozen out of opportunities because they're not flashy enough? There's always that.
Thank you.
And Dana White is about his bread. He will take a guy that's subpar, but looking like Ryan Garcia, if he knows he can get a return on investment with that guy and promote him as Jesus, rather than a dark-skinned kid with woolly hair, you know what I'm saying, from West Bubblefuck USA. Unless they could put some sort of he's a middle-class kid, but he has to have a fucked-off story. His mama gotta be on crack, and this, that, and the third, and that's where that WWE motherfucker comes in with the storyline. Thomas is right. We went to a Caleb Walsh fight at the theater in Madison Square Garden. Yo, coach, you know what I saw over there? First of all, we walked there. I didn't know it was gonna be this serious. So me and Thomas go, right? I look behind me. I said, "Is that Larry Holmes?" So I said, "What the fuck is Larry Holmes doing?" I said, whoa. Larry Holmes is here. I said, "Oh, okay." You know, shook his hand, called, because Larry Holmes is my dad's favorite fighter. I called my pops on the phone, put him on phone. I said, "Hey, man, you're my dad's favorite fighter. He said, well, is he with us? I said, no, he's not here. He said, oh, is he still alive? I said, oh, yeah. He said, well, call him. I put my dad on the phone with Larry Holmes. That was at a Caleb Walsh fight. So then I started saying, who the fuck is Caleb Walsh? When we went inside, Blue Blood was there, and I noticed, I said, is that fucking John Jones over there? Triple H was there. I said, wait, what the fuck is going on? I said, wait, like there was a lot of Irish people there. I said, hold on a minute. Who's this Caleb Walsh dude? Nobody, because that fight, incidentally, I thought he lost. So he's not no world beater. But I said, this guy got a machine behind him. Because I'm looking around, you'd have thought an A-class fighter was there. And it was him. And I'm not saying he's trash, but I didn't know. I said, God damn, he got a machine. He's Irish, off the boat Irish. That's the same day I told y'all when I was walking out, an off the boat Irish dude. Hey, Drew Titan. I'm like, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, that's wonderful work you do with when you're reporting on Daniel Kinahan. I said, oh shit. He's off the boat. I said, wow. I'm reaching ears now.
Yep.
And shout out to Art Hostage, because he's the one that put me on game. But this guy who is cousins with somebody in Fury's camp. Man, Thomas in the chat, he could tell you. Irish dude talk. I said, holy shit, that's crazy. But I'm looking around like, wow, and Dana White was there. I said, what the fuck is all these UFC dudes doing here? And I'm like, oh shit. And we just saw Caleb Walsh on a Riyadh season card, did we not? We just saw him.
Sure did.
Now, I know several guys that are better than him, but they have no machine.
No machine.
So if you put Dana White in charge of this shit, that's what you're going to get. We're going to get fights that we want from up top, but what about the guys that are putting in work? Are they even going to get? Are they even going to get a look? Is Dana White going to send guys to gyms? Is he going to look to the U.S. boxing program?
Nope.
Or get the next marketing scheme? What are we going to do? And that's what I'm saying. The sanctioning bodies, this is a self-inflicted wound, because all of this, they took advantage of us. The four sanctioning bodies did take advantage of us. But the flip side is, Turkey did come in and set some records straight, but if he gives us to Dana White, it's going to be the same old, but under one nation, under that groove.
Yeah, he got.
And it's going to be a problem.
He's got to have the power. Now, Drew, you said something that I want people to think about. You said Caleb had a machine behind him. Now, what kind of machine does Dana White have behind him? And what other promoter in the history of boxing has ever had a machine like the machine that Dana White has built over the last 20-something years behind him? Bob Arum came in and got close to two Muslim brothers. All right? Yep. Al Heyman came in as a great promoter, but he didn't have a machine behind him. Golden Boy, even though Oscar and B-Hop had fans, they didn't have a machine the way Dana has. Let me tell y'all something, family. Dana White put on a MMA event in Atlanta a few months ago. When I tell you, you would have thought it was the Super Bowl. I'm sitting around like, wait a second. I didn't even know we had a MMA fan base like this. They come where he go. Now, Dana has a machine that is behind him, and when he comes into the sport of boxing, he has leveraging power with that machine.
Yep.
Brother Drew, you asked another good question. Where is he going to pull his resources from? How many star fighters does he really need? Does he need to go through the USA boxing program? No. Why would he go through the USA boxing program when he's already trying to get the Muhammad Ali Act altered to help his business practices?
There you go.
The USA boxing program has a whole nother rule book of its own kind of sanctioning bodies. So check this out, fam. I want to paint a picture real quick. A lot of us can remember when The Ultimate Fighter first aired. A lot of mainstream America didn't know who Kimbo Slice was until what? until the Ultimate Fighter. If you were not watching street fighting when YouTube, first started popping, and you weren't into that type of stuff, you didn't know who Kimbo was until we talking about mainstream, y'all, because I already know somebody in the chat like, man, we knew who Kimbo was. Mainstream America did not know who that man was until he came into the Ultimate Fighter. A lot of y'all didn't know who a lot of those fighters that came from the Ultimate Fighter was, and Dana was able to build them from scratch. Floyd Mayweather, when they used to do the All Access on Showtime, man, how great was that for us to see the training? It almost felt like we could almost go in camp with these fighters. One of the greatest, I think, shows that boxing ever had. Dana White had that on every week. Family, listen, man, the man is a genius when it comes to promoting a combat fighter. All he needs is the Ali Act out the way. And
That's
when
right.
it happens, when he gets it out the way, what we need to understand is, because what they're used to doing, they're used to taking the gold medalists from the Olympics and they shelf them. They shelf them or they drag them out. Shakur, not even just the gold medalists, the silver medalists, and sometimes the bronze as well, unless it's a heavyweight. Look how long it took Keyshawn. Look how long it took for them to drag him. Andy Cruz, Shakur. These people should have been hitting the ground running. They should be the biggest things in the sport of boxing. But instead, you all see, it doesn't work out like that. The same thing with what's the brother's name that just fought Devin Haney? Ramirez. Ramirez was almost the first undisputed Mexican American champion at that weight class, but he had lost before, I believe, 2 fights before Devin Haney. So if Dana White gets into the position that he needs to be in, family, think about it. Think about it. Why is Dana going to go through the traditional route, like Drew just asked? Where is he going to pull his stars from? He doesn't have to, y'all. He knows how to build them from scratch. Now, imagine all of us that grew up used to seeing boxing on Monday, Wednesday, Friday night, Saturday if it's a big event, and sometimes Sunday as well. Imagine turning on the television, turning on Fox, and now Dana has created a series where it follows fighters from high school to college to going pro, and it's on every week. It's on almost every day. It's playing on world news channels, commercials everywhere. The same way they promote the UFC on ESPN, Fox Sports. Man, y'all better wake up.
Man, they already know that they already know that they're gullible. You know how I know the world is gullible? Ryan Garcia. Y'all are so goddamn gullible, man. That kid ain't shit.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all overlooked everything that he's done. Y'all overlooked everything that he's done. That's how I know these guys ain't real boxing fans. Dana is only flirting with this because he knows how gullible you are, and all he sees is dollar signs. He don't care about the sport. He cares about his bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the Olympics already said that, some Olympics, they said it's so corrupt, we want to do away with it. Remember when I did the live stream, y'all?
Yep.
And I said, who's coming in to try and save the Summer Olympics, the boxing program? Mauricio Suleiman, of all people?
Mm-hmm.
I did that live.
Yep.
And I told you, we in trouble. If this guy has to come back, if Mauricio Suleiman has to spin the block and save Olympic boxing, we're in trouble. I said this.
You did, Drew. You sure did.
And now look.
You sure did. You pointed it out. And you know what? I realized, Drew, that a lot of us can't see because a lot of times we look through the lens of our own culture. So let me point this out real quick. Who remembers that series that used to come on BET when LeBron did that street tournament?
I do.
Back in the day, for those that don't remember, it was Team New York, I think Team New York, Team Chicago, Team Philly. They had like some inner city teams. And LeBron was one of the owners of the teams. Now, this series was on for a few weeks, but man, it was the highest grossing sports anything at that moment, at that time. Now, think about how big that was for the culture, for us as black men seeing, a street basketball on a series where we can, watching on BET. We seeing LeBron at the ballpark. They going to the Rucker. We like, yo, this is crazy, right? Now, family, what that was to us, this is what this is going to be to a lot of his white male audience who outnumber us in America. If you don't, I think sometimes we think, oh, well, I wouldn't watch that. So that, nah, family, look, why did MMA and UFC appeal to that crowd a little bit more? Well, for a long time, they got tired of seeing us whooping that ass in boxing. So they started to move the UFC to having some better rules, to having, you can grab now, you can do ground and pound, you can wrestle now. So that intrigued them. That intrigued a lot of that white young male audience. Okay, now a lot of us love MMA, but they have a huge base there versus boxing, unless it's like an Irish guy fighting or a Polish guy fighting. Now, imagine something like that being on television 3 times, 4 times a week. Dana's not going to need USA Boxing. Dana's not going to need the sanctioning bodies. Dana White don't need our asses at that point. And that's what we're trying to just open your eyes, people. And if the fighters don't stand up, like Coach Eddie said, if y'all don't put your money where your mouth is, hey, man, it's a wrap for y'all. Y'all ain't going to have no damn leverage and power. The days of Floyd Mayweather for y'all is over with. Go ahead, Coach.
Hey, I want to chime in, too. We talk about the marketing aspect. We talk about the Muhammad Ali act. Now, Muhammad Ali was a hero, right? Not only that, but the women loved Ali.
Mm-hmm.
The women love Oscar De La Hoya. The women love Ryan Garcia. They say, you know what? We don't want another Muhammad Ali. The closest thing that we came to, and you can attest to this, when Roy Jones was fighting, your woman was watching that fight. She did not because she liked boxing, because she liked Roy.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong?
You ain't lying.
You know, and that's a part of boxing. The marketing scheme. They say, oh, this kid got the looks right here. That's why they trying to push Emilio Vargas so good, because you know what?
Mm-hmm.
The girls like it. The girls like it. Now, guy like Andre Ward, clean cut, nice looking dude, didn't get the push. We don't need another black guy that the white women are going to be swarming after. Demetrius Andrade fell into that same category. We don't need another guy like that the women are going to swoon over. He's no good. Let's push him to the background. But as soon as you get a Hispanic guy that the women love, they put him on the forefront. Like this kid that fought on the freaking Buzz undercard had no business being a co-main event.
Mm-hmm.
That kid should have been on a YouTube portion of boxing.
I ain't want to say anything, but yep.
But they put him on the forefront. Now Anthony Joshua, that was another. Eddie Hearn said we got a gold mine in this guy. Look at it. Dude look like he's been lifting weights. He's chiseled out of stone. We can make money off this kid right here.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Huge female fan base. You seen that when Floyd Mayweather was standing next to Anthony Joshua? Man, the women didn't even look at Floyd, man. They went straight to AJ.
Yeah.
You know, and all that. Like it or not, that's a part of boxing, man. I mean, when you looked at Apollo Creed when I was a kid, I said I want to be like that guy. You know what I'm saying? Remember the first time you seen Apollo Creed? Man, the dude was in shape. You know what I'm saying? Articulate brother. I said, man, I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, man, I need to do some push-ups, man. I want to look like Apollo Creed. You know what I'm saying? Apollo Creed was a hero to a lot of black people. And when they killed Apollo, it's like they took the win out of that franchise, man, because Apollo meant that. Apollo meant that much.
Coach ain't lying.
Yep, I felt that. Rocky IV came out when I was in 5th grade. I was in 5th grade, and I went to the movie with my dad. And y'all gotta understand, Carl Weathers, the look for black fathers back then was clean shaven with a mustache and a short afro. My dad rocked it. My uncles rocked it. Everybody looked like Shaft, right? And we went to see Rocky IV. My brother Junior Truth in the building. We went to go see Rocky IV, and I remember sitting in there, and when Drago got the beating Apollo ass, I looked at my pops out the corner of my eye. He was like, oh, here we go. But, you know, when he killed him, every black man in the theater, you heard them suck their teeth like, oh, really? You couldn't just beat him into a coma, or, you know, you had to kill him?
Had to kill him.
God damn, man. But you gotta understand it was a different time. We was at war with Russia back then. So we needed a hero, but killed the black guy. But I wanted y'all never forget that Rocky got nice because Apollo taught him how to fight like a black fighter. Don't forget that.
Taught him how to move them feet.
Don't forget that. There are a lot of gems in those rock. Although the fighting was corny, because when you start to like learn box, I was already in the gyms back then, and I'm like, man, people don't fight like that. But there's a lot of gems in that whole franchise. There's a lot of gems in that franchise. So I get the movies. Man, listen. That whole franchise is a lesson in itself, even in real life, because Rocky Balboa is in the goddamn Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to give Creed that call. He done did 3 good movies.
Yeah.
What they waiting on, Drew?
Man, wrong complexion for the protection.
Shit.
I heard well, you know, Sylvester didn't have nothing to do with the last Creed movie.
Right.
Yeah. So
and Michael B. Jordan directed the last one himself. So you got Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors. And y'all ain't calling either what? All right. I'm giving it some time.
What's going on. It's a direct reflection of real life. And I'm cool either way. So that's further proof that sometimes the truth has to be interpreted. Sometimes people just come in and lollygag through life. Do y'all remember at the height of the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather situation, talking to someone that didn't really know, and all they knew was what Stephen A. Snitch and that other fool on ESPN was talking about? Floyd may or may not weather. I'm like, man, shut up, man. You don't know. And then you try to have a conversation. Well, Floyd ducks fights, and you always used to look at him and ask him, who's he ducking? And they can say Manny Pacquiao. I'm like, well, that's one fight, and that's Manny Pacquiao's fault. Who else? You said he ducks fights, plural, more than one. Who else he ducked? They can't even tell you his last 5 fights.
Nope, never.
You know, so you're in conversations with people like that. That's why I really didn't get too deep into the AJ Wilder thing, because when we're talking about how to fight just makes sense for Undisputed, they start talking about body parts, legs and skinny legs, and the complexion of skin, and Alabama and AJ's perfect teeth. And I literally was in BFTB's chat years ago, and these dudes in the chat start talking about how AJ looks like he could pound a chick in the bedroom. These were men.
What? See?
I'm dead serious. I'm gonna put something on the screen. I'm gonna show you something.
See, that's crazy.
This was an email sent to BFTB. Read that.
What the hell?
Look at that. Look at that.
That's crazy. And I remember Malik Scott was saying something similar, saying that AJ makes straight men go the other way. He made that comment, and people took it out of context. But no, Malik Scott said that. Yeah.
This is the guy that everyone's up in arms over. Look at this picture. Who the fuck takes a picture like this? Now, no, granted, he'll whip the average motherfucker ass, but at no point do I look at this picture and say, yeah, that's one of the GOATs. Get out of here.
Hey, Drew, look at what J-Man said, man. That is crazy. J-Man said, crazy how Creed cameoed Crawford and Canelo. And now look what transpired. Now that's crazy. I forgot about that.
That's right. Canelo damn sure was in that movie. I forgot about that. Should have been Bud the whole time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bud was undefeated back then too. Should have been Bud.
That's divine.
And Canelo had losses back then.
Yep.
Oh, you kidding me? That went right over my head.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think about that, man.
Oh, snap. Jay Bean in that super chat, he says that UFC at the White House will be the move to abolish the Ali Act. That UFC fight will be the distraction they need as a shield to minimize backlash. Oh, boy. Yo, family, we are up against it.
Y'all thinking now.
And I'm concerned. I'm very, very concerned. In a perfect world, Dana White gets the baton and he does right by the sport, but he's a businessman. And the Muhammad Ali Act is in his way for what he wants to do. And I can't unsee what he's done with the UFC. I can't unsee it. And what I refuse to do is to ignore his past, because I know what this is. Come on,
Yeah,
now.
I think a lot of people forget how heavy Trump is in boxing. This dude, but he been in the boxing business a very long time, man.
Long time.
Let me point out what he did. He was at some boxing event when he was running for his second presidency. That god awful situation when Evander fought Vitor Belfort and lost. Vitor saluted him. I remember that. Vitor saluted him. I say, man, this dude, man.
Hey,
this dude.
Hey, coach, I'm about to mess y'all up with this one. Now, we know Dana and Trump is cool, right?
Very.
Now, I'm gonna say something. I just want y'all to put everything together. Now, Julio Cesar Chavez's son got caught at the border because of ties to an organization, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, Dana White and Trump, they boys now. Now, who is Trump beefing with in Venezuela?
Oh, shit.
Now, y'all just think about that for a few days.
Oh, man. It's Syriana, the movie. It's all connected.
If you know, you know.
Oh, my God, man. Listen, man. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot that, cats need to consider.
Mm-hmm.
I can hope for the best, but we're living in reality. I never claimed to be super duper educated on everything. I'm going to tune in to our brother 503 Lion tonight. Oddfellas going to be there. I want to be educated on things that I missed. I want to hear all the perspectives, but one thing that we can agree on is that we want what's best for the sport of boxing. Yes. We can all agree on that. And it's going to be difficult for us to want what's best for boxing when these people, everybody here on the screen, cater to the casuals that don't know any fucking better.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fighting multiple fights because I consider us, everyone on the panel, everyone in the chat, most of us are educated, but a casual is not. We say we want AJ versus Wilder for undisputed. They say Wilder don't deserve it because he got skinny legs and AJ potentially has a big penis. We're having two totally different conversations. And I'm going to crash my plane there. Coach, man, let them know where they can find you, good brother.
You can find me at Coach Hudson, Coach.Hudson on YouTube. Shout out you, Brother Drew. Appreciate you giving us a platform to speak on. Salute to you, Coach Eddie.
Yes, sir. Y'all brothers stay up, man. And you guys, I don't have a channel or anything, but you can just find me in the YouTube streets somewhere, man. But I appreciate you having me up, Drew. Thanks, brother.
Man, salute to you, brothers, man. Thank you, Abel. Thank everybody that was on here. I think the general, he should be on now. And let's just keep it meek and just monitor this thing, man. There's no, and can I say this, man? It's okay for us to have a disagreement. But let's be respectful to each other, please. Let's do that, please. Can we just please? It's one thing to have a disagreement, but let's be respectful to each other, please. Let's do that. Let's do that. And let's support each other because we all we got. And we're real supporters of the sport. We're talking about something that could be really good or really bad or in between. But the purpose of the show today was to bring awareness to what could potentially happen and let y'all know that these 4 sanctioning bodies are to blame. This is years of them posturing while making their money and not giving us the best competition and enter a cheat code named Turkey Al-Sheikh. And I say that respectfully. When I say cheat code, that means he came in with money and gave us everything. And we're happy now, but now he's doing business with Dana White, and we already know what Dana White's finna do. And now he's talking about the Muhammad Ali Act, and he's telling the casuals, he's trying to paint this picture like it's a bad thing when it really protected people. So if there's something I'm missing, I'm gonna listen to my brother Oddfellow on 503. 503's channel. Go subscribe to 503 Line. Go subscribe to Cadillac Red, Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Go subscribe to the War Report. I want to hear everything. I don't know everything. I don't pretend that I do. I want to be educated, because the best I can do is my part in supporting these sports. If you missed the African fight card yesterday, and salute to Amir Khan because he was in the middle of it, and he had another card he's going to come back with. Support the sport, man. Support the sport. Stop arguing with people online and get to know the sport and appreciate it. If you have the attention span. Salute to everybody in the Venmo, the Zelle, the Cash App, the Super Chat, man. I might do pep talk tonight or maybe tomorrow night. A new Patreon is up. I had a conversation. Well, I told a story about how women are 10 times worse in a strip club than men could ever be. Y'all go check that out, man. Bronx on deck.
Move! Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.